Was good. Was good. What up, man?
Roger's gracing us with his presence tonight,
Right.
fellas.
Yeah. Hey, and I have an announcement that's not a really great one. So, production had an issue today and left their charger at the office about 50 miles away. So this show's gonna go as long as we can take it.
Oh wow. Well,
I think we got an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, what's the prognosis?
I got 85%, and I got it on power saver, so we'll check it out. We'll see.
All right, we're gonna.
When you start to go like this, it starts to dim out. You let me know. If I say wrap it up, Sean.
Yeah.
No long questions.
You give me the what is a Cab Calloway?
Then I know going back till Sunday. That's the problem. I
Mm.
may have to go back tomorrow or Saturday.
Hey man, good to see y'all, man. I feel like we haven't been in this setting in a minute. I mean, we've been doing stuff, a lot of stuff behind the scenes toward the morning roast. Roger, you want to speak a little bit, man, to everybody about what's going on with season 2 in the morning roast?
Sure. So season 2, the morning roast, for all of those watching, is on WGN at 6 a.m. on Saturdays now, and the CW down in Houston, Texas. And I will say it once again with great pride on my chest, and just thanking all the fellas. We took WGN numbers at 4:30 a.m. from less than 800 to over 30,000. So that is what kind of sparked the move to 6 a.m. The numbers at 6 a.m. were kind of low too, but we're going to bump those up for them as well.
And that 30,000 is per episode, right? That's
yes.
Yeah.
That was 30,000 per episode. We had well over 100,000 when we, looked at the culmination of everything.
Yeah.
But I want to also put it out there. Any business owners out there, please contact info@intvchicago.com. If you have commercial you want to run, it does cost over $1,000 to $3,000 to run commercials on WGN. I can put you on the morning roast considerably cheaper. So reach out to info@intvchicago.com and I can create a commercial and air it for you.
Yeah.
So what Roger really is saying is we came to chew gum and make money. And we
all out of gum. Hey, so man, I have to.
We ain't listening to you with your bubblicious.
With your bubblicious and your bubble yum.
And your
look, and your bubs daddy. We ain't, Hey man, I have to shoot a personal thank you out to everybody that checked on me this last week or so. If you've been following me at all, I lost one of my best friends, man, and one of my longest friends, one of my dearest friends, on Thursday, Kevin Chambers. We called him Kevo. And when I tell you this dude was a one-of-a-kind dude, there will never be another Kevin Chambers. When I say he was the life of the party, that is an understatement. There was something about when he walked into the room, he was fearless, he was funny. He was loyal. He was a sweet and good man. And so I thank everybody that checked on me. I really wasn't able to have any conversations those first few days, especially if I thought you were calling me for details. I wasn't gonna be able to do it, And finally, yesterday, I started kind of trying to take calls from people that I knew were just trying to check on me and make sure I'm okay. So I want to shoot some love to the Chambers family. If you knew anything about that family, what an amazing dude he had to be coming from that family. And so everything I do for the rest of this year is going to be dedicated to my man, Kevo. We were thick since kindergarten, man. So I'm going to miss that dude. I miss him already. So, hey, man. I had an experience, and I'm going to speak to America. Can I speak to America? Look, don't be the Facebook bully. Don't be the person that takes your passionate beliefs and then tries to disrespect and beat up on people with them. It's not a good look. It's not cool. You don't know everything you think you know. And most of the stuff you think you know, you should be quiet about because somebody's sitting on the side going, you look stupid because you don't know what you're talking about. So I had an experience, man. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I had an experience over the weekend with someone who decided to come onto my social media page and actually insult some people that had a differing opinion than him. He didn't have to even come onto the page. It was something that I posted. He decided he was going to come onto the page, insult the people that didn't agree with him, and it got so bad that he started to get super personal with it, to the degree of dragging this show, which I thought was really in poor taste. And I thought it was really ironic that this is a guy that I had kind of given a pass for a number of years. I'd heard that he was really out here just ignorant and foul and left. And I hope he's watching. And, and that's the thing that I thought was pretty fascinating. Like, you got to be watching my shit to drag it. So you seem to know about a lot about what I'm doing to be bad mouthing it.
And I was shocked because I know you're talking about, and I worked with that dude like right out of college. I knew that guy, and I figured if he saw the show, he would have reached out to me and said, "Hey, Raj, I saw your show." But then I remembered our interactions and realized,
and really the only reason I was given the dude a pass is because he has a tie to a dear family member of mine, and so I was always giving him a pass, but I don't think that family member needs me to give him a pass, so he gets an official FU for the rest of my days, as far as I'm concerned. If I could end every show like Jimmy like Jimmy Kimmel does with Matt Damon, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, I just wanted to say that, man. It's okay to feel what you want to feel. It's okay to share your opinions, but don't seek fights on Facebook, especially when you're gonna be somebody who doesn't even know how to fight fair. Don't do it. It's not a good look.
I don't look up, or not. I'm sorry, don't look up. I don't think highly of grown men that do that anyway. Any adult,
man.
Period.
I'm gonna tell you, man. If I feel
man that wants to start an argument, go back and forth, your mental capacity just drops like tenfold every time.
Oh yeah, man. And I think the only reason I even gave him the time I did was because I was sitting in the crib alone, grieving, needed something to distract me. I'm like, okay, I can kill an hour
today.
Yeah, I got time for it today. But at the end of the day, man, I thought it was a pretty pathetic display. And I encourage people, don't be that dude. If I see something that I really feel that passionately about, contrary to something that I see on social media, I go and post on my own page about what I believe. I don't go and start fights because at the end of the day, people are going to believe what they want to believe anyway. And so he going to be an idiot at the end of the day, regardless to what I give him back. So, so it's like that. Anyway, man, it's 9:09 and I have to start whether we want to have this conversation or not.
All right, hold on. Let me move this mouse right over your face.
Hey, man, OJ Simpson passed today.
Yeah.
OJ Simpson passed today. And whether you like him or not, have your opinions about what you think happened or not, because I'm of the belief that unless you were across the street in a van with tinted windows watching it go down, you really don't know what the hell happened. You're guessing like everybody else is. He's a big part of our culture, man. He's been a huge part of our culture in a lot of different ways. And so I think his death is significant because it speaks to so many different things, But I wanted to know, man, first thing I want to ask you guys is, do you remember where you were when the verdict went down?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Where were you, Raj?
I was at work with that individual.
Hey, we're gonna call him Matt Damon. You was at work with Matt Damon?
Yeah. I know exactly where I was. And it was as divisive in the work environment as it was in public. I have my wife and I were talking about it earlier. I have a lot of views on it.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I pretty much speak my piece. I am never afraid of that. I'm just very careful of sound bites when I speak or try to. Unless I'm like on the show kind of in character, so to speak, then I'll write that off. But with him in particular, the couple of things that stood out was I actually watched it because I was home with my mom. Family members had some health issues. So I got to actually see pretty much almost 98% of every single day of that trial.
Oh, wow.
And so in watching it, there were things that I would see and know that I would hear later on in the news that were completely either untrue or off. And I'm not saying that to sway necessarily his innocent or guilt. I'm just saying
Sure.
watching it and then watch the news was like, that didn't happen. I literally watched this thing. They cut that out.
Yeah.
That was a big part. The other part is just as a black man, I kind of have the same viewpoint about him as I do other black athletes. I can actually separate that. Hey, you're a great athlete. There are a lot of athletes. I love the athlete, but don't respect the man. And that's pretty much where I put OJ. Hey, man, wow, you did a lot. You the endorsement, the first person to get like 20 plus endorsements and all that other stuff you did. That's phenomenal. But when it came down to actually having any influence in the community or using your influence in a positive manner, there was none. So for me, that whole situation wasn't even so much for me. I didn't really look at it from an OJ perspective. I looked at it from Johnny Cochran. Who's this dude I never heard of? I've never seen a man so brilliant that dragged an entire state behind them so eloquently. And also, unless I'm mistaken, and obviously you guys in the comments or wherever, hey, TD, can let me know, never defended people he knew was guilty. And so that kind of stuck out in my mind. He was not the defendant, just took anybody that had the money. I mean, he was, he was a little bit more particular in who he took on. So those two things stuck out. But I'll stop talking. Let Robert jump in there.
No. You're more than good. Come on, Robert. You have anything, man?
I don't get here often, so I get very verbose.
No, I don't remember where I was that when the verdict came out. I just remember thinking about, is this true?
Yeah. Do you remember just how you felt emotionally? Because that was such a weird time, man. Because we were
very much.
We were there was some unity, around it because here was this guy who had never really advocated or represented, for black people, but because he was one of ours, and we saw what he didn't see, which was, put in the right situation, you're gonna be fully black. I know you hang
You're
out.
Talking about Johnny Cochran?
No, I'm talking about OJ. You might run some circles with them, but when the rubber meets the road and they gotta make a choice, you're gonna be as black as Tyrone.
If I could jump in, the one conversation we had at the office, which was really weird, was my manager. That's a whole nother story y'all really need to hear. But my manager came in and was like, I don't understand why all these black people are supporting him. And I said, you have to understand that when you've been beaten down as much as we have, you honestly don't care in his innocence. You just want to see a person that has beat you down lose.
Or win for a change, or us win.
And that's horrible to say given the circumstances around it. It wasn't like he was a ticket; it was a murder, double homicide. And so it's not like you want somebody to get away with murder. You don't. Right. But at the same time, at least from what I was perceiving, the vast majority of black people that I was around, it was, I don't know if he did or not, but I just want somebody to beat the system.
We wanted the scales to be balanced on some degree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was past whether or not he was guilty or innocent. And that's because I think, we know that attorneys every day fight for guilty people. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, that ain't really the point. The point is, can we win ever? Can we ever get a W?
Hey, Robert, go ahead. We're at 74% right now.
That is going to be a funny theme throughout the show. Robert, what did you think about it, and how did it impact you, man? I remember that I had gone back to school, and so I had a lot of classes with white friends, and everything. I don't care what it is, man. Everything ultimately somehow ends up back as a race issue, and so it's like, all the white people are saying he killed her and he needs to do this. And all the black people are saying whether he did or not, he needs to get off. And so it becomes, divisive from a cultural standpoint, What did you think about it?
See, so here's the thing. This is just my opinion, if you're asking me if I thought he was guilty.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking you what you remember about that time and how you think it impacted our culture.
I from what I remember in terms of, okay.
Yo,
nothing happens without me, really.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Roberson. He was somewhere achieving. You don't know exactly why I say that, but he does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that I thought it was really an interesting time. I kept trying to dissect what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
If there was some guilt or innocence there.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the biggest thing was,
did I walk in on the O.J. Simpson conversation?
You did. You did. Well, you didn't walk in. You kind of pulled in. You drove
in on it, and you're still driving in on it.
Drifted in.
Yeah.
The guilt or innocence was a giveaway, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so that was probably, my thinking, Sean, was that, wow, this is where we are, and that whole, expressway scene.
Cowlings. I think Ford, man, stayed away from the Bronco for many years just because of that.
Because of that.
I'm sure they did. They only brought it back recently, because they thought enough time had passed. But there was a period of time where you weren't going to hear Ford Bronco and not think about OJ in the back with Al Cowlings driving. You just,
and so that's funny, because do you think people steered away from buying Broncos, or they
created a movie to bring that back? There was a whole movie that they financed to bring the Bronco back.
Yeah, I mean, so
and I think some it'll always be associated with that. I mean, I admit when I see it, I still have thoughts about that time. It was such a polarizing time.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to dig into the story, one of the best documentaries ever, OJ Made in America. It's a 7-hour documentary. And it sets the scene, the context with how LA was from the 60s on up through the 90s. And it talks about police brutality. It talks about all the things that were going on. I don't know if you guys heard of Latasha Harlins. This was the young lady that was shot by the Asian grocer in the back of the head. She was only like 12 or 13 years old. Well, that had happened. And the judge basically gave the grocer probation.
Yep.
This was murder on video. And, the judge said something like, well, this was that. It doesn't really make sense to give her time for something like this. So it was just the lack of regard for life. So there was anger about that. So it was a powder keg waiting to happen. And OJ became the match that lit it, and it created, the Rodney King stuff. Rodney King had happened. So you think about that time, that period of like 2 or 3 years, all that was happening.
Yeah.
So LA was
but we seem like we circling back to that now. Go ahead, Mel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Robert, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. You were talking.
No. There was a segment that talked about today. I don't know if you guys saw this. Was about the guilty verdict. They interviewed some of the jurors that were on the case and what they thought about it. You just made me think of it, Glenn, when you said the Rodney King situation that was going on. At the same time. So some of the jurors, I don't know if you guys saw this, felt like it was their payback because Rodney King did not get his due justice.
Yeah. And they interviewed some of the jurors in this documentary. I mean, it's an amazing documentary. They interviewed Mark Furman. They interviewed
he was the most hated man in America for a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and there's some compelling evidence to the contrary that he did it. There's some compelling evidence that comes out in that documentary.
That OJ did do it.
Did OJ did it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the truth is, usually, man, the spouse is at the top of the list, no matter what the situation is. So it was fair for him to be looked at, regardless. I remember
always about the spouse.
But you talk about a tale of two lives.
Yeah,
you're talking about one of the 30 greatest football players that ever.
Yeah, man.
Like we're talking Barry Sanders, Jim Brown,
Yeah.
I'd say one of the 5 best running backs ever.
Absolutely.
OJ.
Florida's got the oranges, but OJ's got the juice.
Got the juice. Yep.
I'll never forget it.
So to live that life and go from that to one of the most hated men in America, which was probably shocking to him, yes. And he was one of the more race neutral on purpose athletes.
And it's always, I find it amazing, man, how, and Mel, I want to hear from you if you got anything. I find it amazing, man, how even the most race neutral people end up being right on that straddling line. I think about when Tiger, went through his thing, race became a huge issue with him. And he's a dude who never really fully embraced being black. There was always some little nuance to it. And OJ never really fully embraced, being black. But
but he put on a dashiki after he got accused.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He was ready. He was
and I think that happens because in the right circumstance, you get shown that everybody else thinks you black, even though you don't think you black. So you get put in the right situation, they're gonna treat you like you black. So you may as well
black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, anybody that wants to be a lawyer, though, you should watch that because Johnny Cochran put on a master class on how you own.
And you happen to be a member of Great Fraternity. Big Mel, keep your eyes on the road.
I'm not driving.
Oh, you're not. You just chilling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You being escorted by
I have a chauffeur, but
a particularly
earpiece.
Yeah, particularly attractive chauffeur with a particularly big diamond on the left hand of
But my earpiece is in, so it's still a cave. It's just the fellas, you know what I'm saying?
Still just the fellas, right?
Still just the fellas.
Hey, does that mean that she is actually a guest, but an invisible guest?
No.
Even,
what do you think, man?
Even when the producers are away, we are here to the room.
Right. I'm not black. I'm OJ.
Right.
Okay.
That's the line of the day.
Okay. Sure you are.
Okay. That's what Jay-Z said in the beginning of the song. So I think there are a couple of things at play here, right? So the underlying theme of the racism, the Rodney King, the just everything that plays a part in that, evident, prevalent, right? But it also speaks to the brokenness of the justice system on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
For people wrongly accused and for people that are wrongly exonerated. It speaks to it on both sides. Now, whether you did it or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. Right. I remember being in college at the time, and literally, if you didn't have a TV in your room, the common area in the dorms, people sat for hours watching the O.J. Simpson trial. It was like, man, is there anything else on television besides this? And so I didn't watch a lot of it. I don't know. And not to totally shift gears, I don't know if you guys, it's still kind of early in the show, I don't know if you guys talked about this or not. And Sean, I don't know if you sent me this on Instagram or it was one of my friends. I think it was my boy James that sent it to me, but there was a thing that said how to ruin your career in something in 30 seconds. And it was a white young lady who's a medical student at the University of Indiana. And she was talking about how just because you're black doesn't mean that your country, your people were picking cotton. They weren't planting it. They weren't making money. They were sold for money. And this just underlying thing about how blatant racism still is, and of course was back then. It seems like there can't be a conversation without it being a part of the fabric of America. All the way around. So
no matter how hard people try to deny the fact that it is,
I think we've hit the turn away from that. I think we were bending towards conversations, but now the climate is such that we're bending away from conversations. People have always had that thing where they don't
so many
listen.
Proud Boys around.
They're just taking information to formulate an argument. And I think that's where we are now, whether it be the media or even just casual conversation. It's rare to find somebody with opposing views having honest conversation. And so now it becomes, do I waste my breath having a conversation with you, or do I just avoid you?
Much like the experience I had, Roger, where there wasn't any room for realistic dialogue. You know, they came through the door with insults and, you know, and that kind of thing. So it could be that we've all become so hypersensitive about it, you know, about what politics have come to mean, and I find that to be so discouraging, because it means that it'll never be what it's supposed to be. It's supposed
well, you can never have a logical argument based on facts anymore, because it's like, okay, Mel, if Mel's a Democrat and I'm a Republican, Mel's gonna be like, okay, you know, let me argue my point. Here's my point. And I'm gonna go, no, Mel, you're a blood-sucking pedophile that drinks the blood of children, because that's what all Democrats do.
Right.
You know? It's never a conversation anymore. Now it's, you want to have a conversation, I'm gonna call you a name, and that's gonna go farther than anything else. And I'm not saying that all Republicans do that. Let me stop that, because I got friends that are Republicans.
Drink blood. What?
No, Democrats drink the blood. That's the Republican. You haven't heard that rumor? You heard of Pizzagate, where the guy went and shot up the pizza store in DC because he heard the rumor that there was a Democrat-run pedophilia ring under in the back of a pizza shop, and he read it on one of those threads like Reddit or somewhere, and one of those right-wing threads, and he went and shot it up.
Wow. No,
these are the things that we have to worry about in this world.
But I do pay attention to the Let's Go Brandons, you know.
That's license plate there. I was in Florida, of all places, go figure, and somebody had an F Joe Biden shirt walking around with his son.
Hey man, last thing I will say on the OJ thing, that created the barometer for me for how people with a voice manage it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when you have a platform, you have a greater responsibility to govern yourselves a certain way with your opinions. You know, facts are facts, but your opinions are something that I feel like you need to govern yourself a certain way with. And I'll never forget the way I saw Dennis Miller and the way I saw Roseanne Barr. Those two people were forever people that I would never support going forward, simply based on the way they handled the OJ thing. Like I said at the beginning, at the end of the day, I understand what evidence looks like. I understand all of that stuff, because you also have to remember things can look one way and be a totally different way. And so the fact that those two individuals basically called him a murderer without knowing for sure that he was a murderer. And I'm thinking, you have fans, you have people that rock with you simply because they enjoy what you do. You have to police your words in a way that respects the influence that you have. And I think that's another thing that celebrities don't do anymore. I don't think celebrities should be talking politics, you know, unless you want to give up your job and go full swing into politics, especially as volatile as politics are now. Like, I don't know why you would be a celebrity that was grandstanding about, you know, your political views, because people have become very passionate about political views, you know.
Yeah.
I think the opposite, Sean. I think not the opposite, but I think if you believe it, stand on it. I don't care what it is. And you know, and like I said, if you believe something, then to me you have a duty, especially if you have the platform. Because if you don't, some other idiot is. And there's nothing worse. Like I said, mentioned before, there's a whole lot of athletes out there that I like as athletes, but don't respect as men. And because of their silence, how many neighborhoods weren't changed? How many brothers and sisters didn't have impact that they could have had.
Sure.
You know, I put a post up a little while ago. There's a guy, it's a white guy back in the 90s that literally took over a town, bought the whole thing, and provided free daycare through any resident in the city and free college for any resident there. Crime dropped down to less than 20%, and every kid goes to college. And that's one man over a small town in Florida, white guy, and the town is black, it's all black town. And I know this is a stretch, especially with the way athletes get traded, but you know, they get traded and go back and forth. But if you just had one team adopt one neighborhood, if you had one athlete get one 12-unit building, put tutorials in the basement and say everybody here whose kid gets a 3.0 gets $100 off of the rent, whatever, those kind of things having a direct, immediate impact. And for a building that doesn't cost you anything. Now, mind you, a lot of the athletes haven't been educated in how to do that or get started, so I understand that. But there are enough millionaires out here that do.
Well, some of it is education, but some of it is just people being covetous of what they have, and they don't want to risk losing any of it. I saw an interview with what's my man's name? It wasn't Kyrie, but it was another point guard. I can't think who it was, but he was basically saying why haven't these super rich athletes just pulled together, just said, hey, let's contribute 50,000, 100,000 a piece, you know, with the numbers that they have, and they could do some amazing things. So I think that there is a covetousness that, you know, that people have in that position. And I also think that's why people will vote against their humanity, because they're trying to protect what they have.
You know what, Sean? And I'm sorry, guys, keep jumping in, but I'm not on here often. But it also is something,
and that's the way we like it.
I'll speak to the rest of them. So that's
that's right. Come on and talk to us, Roger.
But I think that's something that is been impressed upon a lot of groups that aren't white. You know, I took classes. I was at school at IIT for a minute, and what I noticed was all of the white kids had study groups. They had study groups in English, in math, in physics, and chemistry. Right. Every black kid was off by himself because they were taught, figure it out, do it yourself. Yeah. You know, all the Asian kids were over in the corner, even some of the Latinos, but we were all sequestered away trying to get it because we're supposed to be smart enough to do this. Right. Meanwhile,
and we've got to prove to ourselves, Roger, that we are smart enough.
And they're over here like, Bobby, you take 1 through 5, you take 6 through 10, you take 11 through 15, and they're doing homework and assignments together. And I think that grows to even with the athletes, with like, you know what, I got mine, I worked hard, I have talent, you got to do the same thing. And even if they have 50 million, 50,000 doesn't mean anything. It's just, you know, you figure it out.
No, and it's interesting. I had a conversation with a gentleman out of New York. He's a former NBA ball player, and he works with kids about NIL. So I had a conversation with him about, you know, finances, and as kids get NIL, you think about it, only 2% of them are ever going to be pros at anything. But if they're getting NIL money for those 4 years of college, what are they doing with that money? How are they investing it? How are they building the future? So we actually talked about trying to build a program around NIL, you know, involving my new boss and because we know that would get the attention to say, okay, now we're going to be agents for students that want to do NIL and helping them and making sure that a portion of that money goes to investment, because the NIL agents don't care about that. They just care about getting them the money and getting their percentage. But there's no talk about in 4 years, you're either going to need a secondary education, advanced degree, or you got to get out in the real world and find a job because your career is over. But you've got this money now. What can you do with it to make it work for you later? Right.
So when I saw the stat, 88% of all NFL players declare bankruptcy 3 years after their last game. 3 to 5 years after their last game. That's insane.
Another documentary, Broke. Broke is one of the best sports documentaries you'll ever want to see, and it talks about how people spend their money, how athletes just go broke, literally.
But I thought there were programs for people entering the league that helped you manage your money, told you what to look out for.
There's also programs
that told you to watch women that are trying to, you know, get you and tie you to children. You know, I thought that was almost.
There's programs that do that too, Sean. They bring in former groupies that tell you how they catch it, but it ain't helped none.
It ain't help.
It ain't help.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
what
find
I'm
it.
saying.
There's a book called $40 Million Slave that it should be required reading for every single athlete. That is a brilliant book.
It's the power of the punani,
Yeah.
no matter what.
And that punani has actually affected a lot of people.
You would know, Robert. You would know.
Well,
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, let me ask you guys this.
trying not
Spending
to-
his NIL money now on it.
Don't try
I'm trying
not to,
not to
Robert.
come from you.
You don't usually
Trying
try not to. You might as well. You don't usually try not to.
come for
Just
you.
because you just had a birthday, you know.
Yeah.
Hey man, let me ask you this. Why aren't we both the prize? Men and women.
Oh, I just had this conversation.
Why aren't we both the prize? Why does one or the other side have to be designated as the prize?
Because I'm me and I chose her. That's why I'm the prize. What you talking about?
Yeah, you not that. But that really bugs me. You know, like I think collectively everybody is a prize in their own right, you know. And so why can't because if you think you're the prize and you're going to conduct yourself as if you're the prize, which might not be realistic, especially if you're wrong. So
You know what I feel about prizes?
tell me.
Carnivals. Carnival pencils. That what you call them?
Play dumb games, win dumb prizes.
Dumb prizes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But that bothers me. Roger, you're vocal tonight. Why aren't we all just the prize? Why can't we see the prize in one another and just move forward with that reality?
You know what? It's the same underlying theme. Am I good enough? It's as simple as that. Everybody wants to be the prize because they want to prove to themselves and society that they're good enough. They want to prove they're the prize at the job, they're the prize in the relationship, they're the prize on the prize athlete, whatever it is. It's about bolstering us, but I think it's a more reflection on that individual's lack of self-esteem than anything else.
So you're saying the posturing really is all about your insecurity and your need to prove that you are worth what you say you are.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. As I told somebody there, are you worth your drama?
Yeah, because I don't. You know, I've never seen myself as a prize. I've just seen myself as.
Well, that's good. We didn't either.
I gave you that. That was a layup.
You did. You threw it up there.
I wasn't gonna even touch that, but I wanted to.
Hey, look, y'all. Look, Robert got that bike in the background like he's ever ridden it. It's like it's got dust hanging all off of it. Like, dude, you don't have me fooled, birthday boy. I know.
Robert don't even go in that room unless it's to do the show. So he come in there coughing because of all the dust.
Hey, Glenn, it's actually a cardboard cutout. It ain't even real bike. It's just
Oh, TJ, I'm like, where's she at? She on Sean's page. I'm like, why don't I see her comments?
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see her comments.
Robert probably has a Peloton.
You got jokes. That's right, and that's not a Peloton right there.
That's why your voice all scraggly. I just that workout voice.
Right. Yeah,
That's
man.
a Walmart special.
Where we at percentage wise, Roger? Where's the battery at?
About 58.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're gonna make it because we way past half.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just I'd like to know, man. Oh, there he is,
dude. I was like, who the hell is that? I knew it was supposed to be Mel, but it looked like he was like 8 shades darker wearing that hat. I thought we had Tamala Mann's husband on for a minute. And I'm like, what the
not Tamala Mann.
He looks like the legend of Beggar Vance.
No, he looked like he just got in from collecting for his mob boss.
Bugsy.
But like in Beggar Vance, that's the magical Negro though.
Magical Negro.
You know,
they pulled that movie.
Huh?
They pulled that movie.
Did they? I haven't seen it.
I'd never seen it because
the Magical Negro movie.
Oh, they pulled it?
Yeah.
When did they pull it?
They pulled it like yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah, the Society of Magical Negro.
That's crazy.
It's got to be on YouTube or something somewhere.
It probably is.
I'm sure.
Who did the pulling though?
I don't know. I just know they said they yanked it from all the
Is
theaters.
this
They
is
need
this
to
like
yank, from what I saw the preview, they need to yank this Good Times cartoon that's
Oh,
coming out. Has
God,
anybody
man.
seen the preview?
That is horrible.
hey look, did they yank it like it was critical race theory or something? I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it too true? Hey man, along that line, since we're not making any friends tonight. Tell me, and Mel, we haven't got a chance to hear a lot from you tonight because you've been moving around. So I want to know, man, your favorite thing about being a black man. That you can say publicly. That was funny.
I shouldn't have responded like that. I should have had the straight face. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll edit that out.
Again,
TJ, I can't see
family
comments.
show.
No comments from you. None.
Is TJ clowning?
Not a one. She will be.
Don't leave me out there, sir. Your favorite thing. You killing that hat. I just want to let you know, man.
My favorite thing would probably be my resilience that's in my DNA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I won't have to answer because he just gave you mine, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
our people have overcome so much that when I really stop and think about life and what's going on and difficulties and all of that, I'm just like, my bloodline lived through slavery, fam. Like,
And the after effects of slavery.
You said what?
And the after effects of slavery, and
And
still
the after effects of it.
dealing with it. Mm-hmm.
Like, my mom, who was born in the mid 40s, couldn't ride the front of the bus. My mom,
Right.
not my grandmother,
Right.
my mom.
Right.
And it's just like, what am I complaining about? Like, what am I worried about? What is it that I can't do?
Yeah.
Do anything.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of guys, a lot of older black men feel such a way about wayward young black men, because they feel like they don't understand the price that's been paid for them to just play on an uneven playing field.
Yeah.
You know, there was
no less.
Yeah, there was a price to be paid for you to still have to do twice as much.
Yeah.
You know, for you to get to the point to have to do twice as much, there were still lives that had to be lost and blood that had to be shed just so you could be there. Not even equal, not even an equal playing field, but you know what I'm saying? Robert, as the elder statesman.
So you smart Alec, but I love you just the same. Hey, so let me ask this question. Hey, man. So let me ask this question. I can't get that out of my head, man. We have been filming, and that's one of Sean's favorite.
What are y'all talking about? We've been filming. We do our show live every Saturday at 6 a.m.
Yes, Robert. And get back on your favorite thing about being a black man. Don't reel you back in.
I have there's a favorite thing about being a black man. My mother and my father have taught me the benefit of being a black man and standing up for what I believe is right. And that's through school and other things. I wanted to kind of go back, Sean, when you were asking about, sports and things like that, with those athletes that continue to get in trouble. And I wanted to go back and just kind of say, what can we do differently to help those young men that are in the college, age, to be better with making decisions, making better decisions. Is that up to us, or is that up to the coach?
I think maybe it just needs to start sooner. I don't. Maybe as soon as the possibility of the next level is revealed, then the education is revealed. Because it might be that there's too much going on and too much excitement when you're actually experiencing it and walking through it for you to stop in that moment and say, hey, make wise decisions. But if, you know what I'm saying? But if you start, if you started when the potential starts to show itself, like I got a good friend now out of Arizona whose son is a hell of a basketball player and probably is going to be getting some looks from, you know, from the NBA. You know, I mean, I'm confident that, you know, her and his dad are already in his ear. But what about those that don't have that kind of support system? You know, maybe it should be starting, you know, as early as that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because I think, to your point, I think that we blame the kid when they get into trouble, when they start having babies and all these things later in life. And we really need to do a better job of helping those kids when they're playing college sports, etc., to be better, because they may not have the support system that they need.
I think that's a huge part. And like I said, man, once you're there, you can't really drive the car and build it at the same time. You know, you kind of gotta get to work on that before it happens, and before the magnitude of it takes you over. You know, you got to have some things in place before the magnitude of it takes you over. And this is a totally sidebar, but I also want to say this, and we probably need to do a whole show on this. There's always this talk, dude, about the black athlete going outside of his race. And what I've learned, man, is that people don't understand this part about that level of athletics. You start operating in a different place and with a different crowd and in a different atmosphere when you are shown to be of that level athlete that you are probably going to end up on a professional level. The circles that you're running, even as a young athlete, are very different. And so a lot of these guys, my point is, a lot of these guys don't get to the NBA and choose outside of their race. They were already choosing outside of their race. They were already in environments that gave them. I'm telling you what I know and what I've seen.
Sean, that's a whole nother conversation, man.
Yeah.
30 minutes on that one.
But go back, your favorite athlete that you think did that, go look at who his prom date was. That's all I'm saying. Go look at who his prom date.
That means that they had a interracial high school that they were a part of to be able to have that interaction with others outside of the race.
Oftentimes they have, Robert. Oftentimes they have. They've come through programs that had that kind of access and demographic. They have. And so it's not like this guy who's never been around anybody other than black people suddenly walks into this, you know, this wealth of peach melanin or whatever. That's not the way. I've learned over the last couple of years, dude. A lot of that was already in play before they became professional.
Yeah, I grew up on the South Side. I went to Harlan High School on 95th in Michigan. We had very few other, you know, ethnicities there.
Yeah, how many people, you know, from Harlan went to the league though? That's kind of my point. So the programs that these guys are coming from are exposing.
I have to concede with you on that one.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Hey man, before we get out of here, how much time we got, Roger?
10 minutes.
Man, are you guys sure you can hear me? I know you don't want to hear me. My mic sounds like it is like dead.
I took off my headphones because I was getting some background. So
yeah. Bucket list, man. You know, none of us are babies. And of course, I am in a very reflective space, having lost a good friend this week. But I want to know what your bucket list looks like, man. Are there things on your bucket list that you want to do before, you know, you breathe your last breath? You know, whether they are business related or fun related, or, you know, with Robert, they're probably stripper related. I'm done. What do you want to do, man, before, you know, the last chapter is written? Roger?
Oh wow.
Yeah, see there.
I'm glad you're muted, Glenn, because
And you're muted.
smart. That's
I
like,
know you had something to
as
say.
usual, just listen
I
to
would have
him.
been knocked off the camera. I would have been knocked off for what I just said. Then trust me, that would have gotten me kicked off the show.
Wow, you know what? Man,
Thank you for being so deep, Sean. It's been the Black and Deep show
right
tonight. Thank you so much for
Dude,
that.
I have
Sean.
not
You're
been
much
deep.
better.
Hey,
I've talked
going
about,
back to what
I've
you
talked
like
about
being a black man.
OJ, some dude who came from me on the internet, some Q that came from the internet. Why we ain't both? I have not been deep.
You've been a little deep, a little black,
Little
and a little
deep.
deep. Tonight. I think I need to go drink after this
Little
show.
black and little.
Usually I drink during the show. But
Yeah, I
I'm
was gonna
drink
say you should have drank during the show like me, but Roger.
You know, honestly, it has shifted. Before it was things like make sure I get to an island, get to this. I mean, I wanted to purchase an island, which I still want, for different reasons though. And that's something that'll probably happen in the next 5 years, 3 years if I can pull it off, because where I'm looking at, the places I'm looking at getting.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Swiss
realize,
bank
to
account
be
will help
honest with you,
too.
I didn't know there was. What'd you say?
That Swiss bank account will help.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will.
I want an
But,
island
they're
too.
they're much cheaper than I thought they were. That's what shocked me when I actually started looking and sat down with a broker even once. But but honestly, just making sure that I have everything set up for my daughter, which it was always the goal, but it's different as I see the world change. There's different things that I think she needs other than just get a college education and here's a will when I die type of stuff.
Yeah.
And also just making sure she's mentally ready for everything that the world may throw at her, because not just America, but it seems like the whole world is kind of shifting. So my bucket list, honestly, is just preparing a different way.
Glenn Murray, your bucket list. What it look like?
Yeah, I actually don't have a bucket list because, and maybe this is a little bit morbid, but I've lost friends at every level, at every age.
Yeah.
So to talk about plans for 5 years from now or 10 years from now, yes, there's things that you prepare financially and things like that you set up. But every day is kind of my list of getting done as much as I can in a day. Now, that's caused me to run myself ragged a few times and hit the wall and need like 3 days of sleep too. So it's not always healthy. I don't advise that for everybody, but I don't like, I guess I don't like bucket lists because I've had so many people that passed away young.
Yeah, so many people kick the bucket. I'm sorry, that was a layup. That was pretty funny. I'm sorry.
This is why I'm gonna drink after
Kick the
this
bucket
show.
list, huh?
This is why I don't have one. Is what I was saying, sir, before you rudely interrupted me.
You know, it's funny you say that, but I don't know a lot of Black people that had bucket list. I think for that very reason that you mentioned.
Well, Robert, you actually designed the bucket, right? Hey, honestly, I don't really have a bucket list. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought you guys might, but man, I just want to live my life, man, till it's done, and love on the people that I love, and show up for the people that I love as best I can. And I've had moments where I felt like I maybe didn't show up for people as good as well as I could because I was so consumed by whatever was going on with me individually. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to be better about that kind of thing. Small things, man. I want to be better about returning phone calls, and answering the phone, and you know what I'm saying? So all of my bucket list stuff is
answer your text. I want you to be better by answering your damn text.
See that too, So
that helped me a lot.
I want you to be better with, getting the link on Thursday nights,
Really? Remembering what time we film, I want you to be better. I want you to be better, period, Sean.
Remembering to bring shirts.
That's a good one. Remembering to bring shirts. Yeah.
He didn't forget no hats. He forgot shirts.
For those of you that don't know, we were filming because we don't do this show live. No matter what Mel says, don't believe him. Usually don't believe Mel anyway, whatever he says, but don't believe that for sure because I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. without being paid. But Sean forgot his shirts. The brother brought his hat, his suit, his shoes, but he forgot his shirts for filming. So
and this is not just the first time. This happened.
No, that is not true.
Our brother, you know, I bought
twice.
shirts.
So that was one other time, twice.
Right.
I have to owe you for that shirt. I need to pay you for that shirt.
I think you did, but
okay.
No, don't pay Robert for a shirt. He probably spent $1,000 on the shirt. That's the law.
Yeah, he ain't getting 1,000 for it.
Was it a breakaway shirt? Because you know he used those for stripping. Sean probably was putting the shirt on, and all of a sudden, this part just came open.
Where are the buttons?
Robert's a lifetime member of Free the Nipple.
Robert's shirts come with pasties.
All right, now, okay. Hey, listen.
And they all screw.
Y'all making me feel some kind of way.
I need some of my computers for
Opinions
tomorrow.
expressed here by these other gentlemen do not necessarily.
Oh, here we go.
You know, Robert said.
Oh, he's woke. He's awake.
Yes, Lefty has spoken now.
Robert, where'd you?
Hold on,
I still want to know where you bought that Peloton cutout behind you.
Man, you're expressing your disclaimer. Somebody gonna be looking like that's the dude that was just at our apartment building collecting insurance with a baseball bat. What is he talking about? The thoughts and opinions. He busted my windows.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all, man.
Hey, everybody, make sure you check out the show on WGN 6 a.m. Share it. DVR.
Even if you're watching just to hate.
Oh, shoot, that's what I need to do. I just realized something else.
Sean,
Anyway,
let it go, Sean. Let it go.
as many people as possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's ring it back in.
Sean's our host with an attitude.
Yeah, we're super excited that we have a show that we've been doing this in second season, and we're 2 episodes in. We have a phenomenal show lined up for you this Saturday morning, 6 a.m. WGN Channel 9 Chicago, and 4:30 in Houston.
Texas,
It's still 4:30 in Houston.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I need to make
Can somebody in Houston please record the show for me so I can make sure it's showing? Because
right, because they could be telling us any thing, right?
Yeah,
They ain't telling me any damn thing.
my friends in Houston, if you can set your DVR, it would do me a big favor. Do me a solid.
If
Please.
you have,
I'll be in Houston in a few weeks, and we, just let me know how the show was.
Everybody I know in Houston don't get up till 9, so it ain't gonna happen.
if you
Set
have
the
DVR,
DVR. Though,
DVR. Those 4:30
DVR is
shows,
amazing
yeah,
thing.
about maybe 50-50.
man, we've got an amazing.
At this point, Sean, we need to go.
We absolutely we
Your
made it
battery's
though,
running
Roger.
out.
What percentage are we at?
Where are we at? 46. And I'm gonna do this
You
tomorrow.
got
No.
good
Oh,
batteries.
Mel, I
want you
left
to
my
know.
charger at the studio, and I'm not trying to drive back to grab it.
You
before
got good batteries. Got good batteries. Until we do this again, you can check us out on WGN. I'm a poet and didn't even know it. These are the fellas. I'm your host, Sean Mason, and we'll be back the next time for sure.
Maybe.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.